Good evening, everyone. So my topic is all about organ system found in animals. So just like humans, animals need system in order for them to live. Animal specialized tissues. This is arise from the gastrula. Some animal tissues includes the epithelium, connective and blood tissues, muscle and bone. The epithelium is the outer protective covering of the animal body. In humans, the skin is composed of an outer layer of cells called the epidermis. So when we say po the gastrula, it is an early multicellular embryo composed of two or more germinal layers of cells from which the various organs later derive. So the gastrula develops from the hollow single-layered ball of cells called a blastula, which itself is the product of the repeated cell division or cleavage of a fertilized egg. When we say naman epithelium, it is a membranous tissue composed of one or more layers of cells that form the covering of most internal and external surface of the body and its organs. So the epidermis, which is the outer layer of cells of the composed. It is the thin outer layer of the skin that is visible to the eyes and works to provide protection for the body. So the epithelium is a type of tissue, like the others being muscle, connective, and nervous. So that lines the internal and external surface. They are typically thin sheets of cells that have a range of functions such as separating parts of the body, lining organs like the lungs, and generally protecting your body, for example, the skin, including the epidermis, protects the inside of your body from the external danger. So the epidermis is the outermost protective layer of skin consisting of four other layers in thin skin. For example, is on eyelids and five naman on thick skin, for example, soles of feet. It is a type of epithelial tissue and is responsible for primarily protection but also plays a part in temperature regulation through perspiration or sweating. So connective tissue. This is a part of animal specialized tissue includes blood, cartilage, bone, and connective tissue proper. Blood is a tissue composed of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and a liquid portion called the plasma. So the red blood cells supply oxygen to all body cells. Yung white blood cells naman is siya yung nag-fight the invading bacteria and viruses. Platelets are important in blood clotting. So the blood serves to transport nutrients throughout the body. They also carry hormones secreted by the endocrine glands for proper metabolic processes. Next is cartilage. This is also part of animal specialized tissue. Cartilage is found in joints and special parts of the body. Cartilage cells are called chondrocytes embedded in a matrix. So during development, cartilage hardens to become bone tissue with cells called the osteocytes. Dense connective tissue has more layers of protein fibers such as collagen, methicillin, and elastin. So, yung chondrocytes, it is a type of cells present in a healthy cartilage. This involved in the maintenance of cartilage. Yung osteocytes naman, these are a type of bone cells present in mature bone tissue. These are involved naman in the maintenance of bone tissue. So, take note of the differences of chondrocytes and osteocytes. Pag chondrocytes, this is involved in the maintenance of cartilage. Pag osteocytes, this is involved in the maintenance of bone tissue. So dense connective tissue is Dense connective tissue's function is to create the collagen fibers of the tissue. The main roles of dense connective tissue are to transmit forces over a distance and to connect different organs or muscles. So collagen fibers are disposed along the direction of mechanical loads present in that specific tissue. So the example of dense regular connective tissue are tendons and ligaments. Tendons connect muscle to bones, whereas ligaments connect bone to another bone. Next is muscle cells. Muscle cells, referred to as a muscle fiber, the basic unit in a muscular contraction. Muscle cells contain the proteins actin and myosin, and they can be classified as the skeletal, voluntary striated, smooth or involuntary, or cardia, striated but involuntary. So muscle cells is known technically as a myocyte. It is a specialized animal cell which can shorten its length using a series of motor proteins specially arranged within the cell. So muscle tissue can be classified functionally, voluntary or involuntary, and morphologically striated or non-striated. So voluntary refers to whether the muscle is under conscious control. Striation naman refers to the presence of visible bonding within myocytes, which occurs due to organization of myofibrils to produce a constant direction of tension. So cardia and skeletal muscle are both striated in appearance, while smooth muscle is not. Both cardia and smooth muscle are involuntary, while skeletal muscle is involuntary. Next is respiratory system. Respiratory system. All cells need oxygen, the crucial ingredient for extracting energy from organic compounds. Animals obtain oxygen from their environment with their respiratory systems. The lungs of land-dwelling vertebrates gather oxygen from the air. The gills of ocean-dwelling vertebrates filter oxygen from the water, and the exoskeleton of invertebrates facilitate the free diffusion of oxygen from water or air into their bodies. So the respiratory system of animals also excrete carbon dioxide. This is a waste product of metabolic processes that would be fatal if left to accumulate in the body. So respiratory is the process of releasing energy from food, and this takes place inside the cells of the body. So the process of respiration involves taking in oxygen of air into cells, using it for releasing energy by burning food, and then eliminating the waste product, which is the carbon dioxide and water from the body. Respiration is an essential for life because it provides energy for carrying out all the processes which necessary to keep the organisms alive. So, there are organs in animals involved in gas exchange or respiration. The gills, trachea, and lungs. So, gills, outfolding of the body suspended in water. Fish and other aquatic organisms like the crayfish, sea star, and the marine worm possess variation of gills. Trachea. Tracheal system are found in insects. They are composed of air tubes that branch throughout the body, providing a huge surface area by which oxygen can enter the body and become available to all body cells. Lungs. Infoldings of the body surface found in terrestrial animals. Inside, lung tissues is composed of branches and numerous pockets. The gills are greatly increased the surface area for gas exchange. They occur in a variety of animal groups, including arthropods, including some terrestrial crustaceans, annelids, fish, and amphibians. So gills typically are convoluted outgrowths containing blood vessels covered by a thin epithelial layer. So typically, gills are organized into a series of plates and may be internal as in crabs and fish, or external as in some amphibians. So tracheal system naman, many terrestrial animals have their respiratory surfaces inside the body and connected to the outside by a series of tubes. So trachea are these tubes that carry air directly to cells for gas exchange. Spiracles are openings at the body surface that lead to trachea that branch into smaller tubes known as tracheoles. Body movements or contractions speed up the rate of diffusion of gases from trachea into body cells. So the last one is lungs. These are ingrowths of the body wall and connect to the outside by a series of tubes and small openings. Lungs are not entirely the sole property of vertebrates. Some terrestrial snails have a gas exchange structure similar to those in frogs. So next organ system is the integumentary system. The integumentary system consists of the skin and the structures or growths that covers it. Like the feathers of birds, scales of fish, hair of mammals, and so on, as well as claws, nails, hooves, and the like. So the most obvious function of the integumentary system is to protect animals from the hazards of their environment. So the integumentary system consists of the skin and other structures from the ectoderm of the developing gastrula. It is the first line of defense of the human immune system, and it provides a barrier to stop or delay the attack or attachment of a virus, bacteria, or any pathogen. So the ectoderm, when we say ectoderm, this is the outermost of the three germ layer or masses of cells which appears early in the development of an animal embryo. Next is digestive system. Invertebrate animals have simple digestive systems, in one and out the other, as in the case of worms or insects. But all vertebrate animals are equipped with some combination of mouths, throats, stomachs, intestines, and anuses or cloacas, as well as organs such as the liver and pancreas that secrete digestive enzymes. Ruminant mammals such as cows have four stomachs in order to efficiently digest fibrous plants. So, most animals search for food to nourish themselves. Invertebrate animals have evolved different types of digestive system to aid in the digestion of the different foods they consume. Vertebrates have evolved more complex digestive system to adapt to their dietary needs. Some animals have a single stomach while others have multi-chambered stomachs. Birds have developed a digestive system adapted to eating unmasticated food. Ruminant mammals are mainly herbivores like cows, sheep, and goats whose entire consist of eating large amounts of roughage or fiber. They have evolved digestive systems that help them digest vast amounts of cellulose. Ruminants do not have upper incisor teeth. They use their lower teeth, tongue, and lips to tear and chew their food. So they are stages of food processing: the ingestion, absorption, and elimination. So the ingestion is the process of taking in food through the mouth. In vertebrates, the teeth, saliva, and tongue play important role in mastication, like preparing the food into bolus. While the food is being mechanically broken down, the enzymes in saliva begin to chemically process the food as well. Sa absorption naman, the movement of digested food molecules through the wall of the intestine into the blood or lymph During absorption, nutrients such as amino acids and simple sugars are taken into terrestrial cells, first in the small intestine, and are carried to all body cells by blood circulation. Next is the elimination, wherein undigested materials are passed out of the digestive system by elimination or defecation. Next is circulatory system. Vertebrate animals supply oxygen to their cells via their circulatory system, which are networks of arteries, veins, and capillaries that carry oxygen-containing blood cells to every cell in their bodies. The circulatory system of invertebrate animals are much more primitive. Essentially, their blood diffuses freely throughout their much smaller body cavities. So, circulatory system is the organ system responsible for the circulation and transport of nutrients and other molecules throughout the body of an animal. There are two types of circulatory system. A circulatory system has three basic components: a fluid, interconnected vessels, and a heart that serves to pump the fluid. An open circulatory system is found in arthropods and mollusks. Humans have closed circulatory system. Blood is confined to the vessels and is distinct from the interstitial fluid. The closed circulatory system in humans are called cardiovascular system. So, there are two types of circulatory system, the open and closed circulatory system. So, pagkakaiba lang ng dalawa is on the mode of transporting blood in the body of an animal. Sa open circulatory system, the blood is not confined within blood vessels. The blood bathes the organs and tissues directly. Examples of animals with open circulatory is spiders, crustaceans, insects, and certain mollusks. In closed circulatory system naman, blood is the circulatory fluid and is contained within the blood vessels. So, example of animals with closed circulatory system are annelids, few mollusks, and vertebrates. Next is the excretory system. The excretory system consists of several organs and structures that may have different features depending on the animal species. Its main function is to eliminate by filtration waste products resulting from cellular metabolism or incorporated from the environment, for example, during feeding, salt excess in seabirds, etc. The main excretory system in animals is the urinary system. So, sa excretory system, it regulates the chemical composition of body fluids by removing metabolic wastes and retaining the proper amounts of water, salts, and nutrients. Next is the nervous system. This is what enables animals to send, receive, and process nerve and sensory impulses, as well as to move their muscles. So, in vertebrate animals, this system can be divided into three main components: the central nervous system, which includes the brain and spinal cord; the peripheral nervous system, the smaller nerves that branch off from the spinal cord and carry nerve signals to distant muscles and glands; and the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary activities such as the heartbeat and digestion. So, sa nervous system, the function of the nervous system is to control movement of the organisms and to affect the environment. This is achieved by sending signals from one cell to other, or from one part of the body to others. Next is the endocrine system. In higher animals, the endocrine system is made up of glands such as the thyroid and thymus, and the hormones these glands secrete, which influence or control various body functions including metabolism, growth, and reproduction. So, the endocrine system encompasses a group of tissue that release norms into circulation for travel to and action on distant targets. An endocrine tissue is typical a ductless gland, for example, pituitary and thyroid, that releases its hormones into capillaries that permeate that tissue. Next is the reproductive reproductive system. All vertebrate animals, from fish to reptiles to human beings, possess gonads, which are paired organs that create sperm in males and eggs in females. The males of most higher vertebrates are equipped with penises and the females with vaginas, milk-secreting nipples, and wombs in which fetuses state. So the major function of the reproductive system is to ensure survival of the species. With the other systems in the body, such as the endocrine and urinary systems, within the context of producing offspring, the reproductive system has four functions: to produce egg and sperm cells, to transport and sustain these cells, to nurture the developing offspring, and to promote hormones. Next is the lymphatic system. This is closely associated with the circulatory system. The lymphatic system consists of a body-wide network of lymph nodes which secrete and circulate a clear fluid called lymph, which is virtually identical to blood except that it lacks red blood cells and contains a slight excess of white blood cells. So lymphatic system protects body against foreign material, assist in circulation of body fluids between cells and bloodstream, and transport dietary fats. The function of lymphatic system is to return tissue fluid to the bloodstream. It absorbs and transports fat and fat soluble vitamins from the intestine. Next is the immune system. The immune system is responsible for distinguishing an animal's native tissue from foreign bodies and pathogens like viruses, bacteria, and parasites. It is also responsible for mobilizing immune responses whereby various cells, proteins, and enzymes are manufactured by the body to destroy invaders. So the immune system is comprised of sophisticated network cells, proteins, and enzymes that are programmed to monitor animal wellness. It is a complex network of organs containing cells that recognize foreign substances in the body and destroy them. It protects vertebrates against pathogens or infectious agents such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, and other parasites. Next is the sensory system. The sensory system detects signals from the outside environment and communicates it to the body via the nervous system. The sensory system relies on specialized sensory receptor cells that transduce external stimuli into changes in membrane potentials. A sensory receptor converts the energy of the stimulus go change in membrane potential and are passed on the central nervous system. Sensory pathways have four functions such as sensory reception, transduction, transmission, and perception. A sensory receptor is a sensory organ with all subcellular structures through which a stimulus can pass through. Sensory transduction is the conversion of a physical or chemical stimulus to a physical or chemical stimulus to a change in membrane potential in a sensory receptor. So, transducing the energy of a stimulus into a receptor potential triggers transmission of action potentials to the central nervous system. There are five types of sensory receptors: the mechanoreceptors, electromagnetic receptors, thermoreceptors, and chemoreceptors, and pain receptors. Mechanoreceptors caused by mechanical energy such as touch, pressure, stretch, sound, and motion. So mechanoreceptors allow animals to feel their environment. The whiskers of cats are very sensitive mechanoreceptors. Electromagnetic receptors able to detect electricity, visible light, and magnetism. So, snakes is one of the examples of electromagnetic receptor. It have receptors that detect the body heat of a potential prey. Thermoreceptors, heat and cold are detected by thermoreceptors. The skin and anterior hypothalamus contains thermoreceptor cells. So the skin and anterior hypothalamus contains thermoreceptor cells. Next is chemoreceptor. It transmits information on solute concentrations and specific receptors to respond to various types of molecules in the body. The last one is pain receptors. Detection of stimuli that may lead to harmful conditions like temperature or extreme pressure. So, pain receptor, they trigger defensive reactions to withdraw from imminent danger. In sensory system, detection and processing of sensory information with subsequent motor responses provide the basis for all animal behavior. It allows the animal to adapt, move, and procure food among other activities. Next is musculoskeletal system. The musculoskeletal system, also known as the locomotor system, is an organ system that gives the animal and including humans the ability to move using the muscular and skeletal system. Skeletal muscle is composed of a bundle of muscle fibrils. An individual muscle fibrils is composed of numerous proteins containing myofibrils. They are composed of thick myosin and thin actin myofibrils. The musculoskeletal system is made up of the body's bones, the skeleton, muscles, cartilage, tendons, ligaments, joints, and other connective tissue na nag-support and binds the tissues and organs together. So it is the primary function that includes supporting the body, allowing motion, and protecting vital organs. The bones of the skeletal system provide stability to the body analogous to reinforcement bar in concrete construction. The muscle keep the bones in place and it also play a role in their movement to allow motion. Different bones are connected by articulating joints and cartilage prevents the bone ends from rubbing directly onto each other. So in order to transform muscular contraction into movement, a skeletal muscle is required. That's all. Thank you po.